Hey, what's up, world, and welcome back to another episode of Cut the Deck with the one and only host, Jose Foji, checking in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, as we got a million things to get into from the Mike Vrabel and Rossini situation to WNBA stuff, culture stuff, Austin Rivers and Draymond Green beef, and plus amongst more things amongst the culture and also hoops. You know what I'm saying? So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll get into it. I mean, back at it with the Lovebirds again, Mike Vrabel and Rossini. You know, they're back at it again. So obviously we know she stepped down from the Athletic, and also we know that it's been kind of under wraps for a minute. And let me tell you about how this works. They actually didn't want the news circulating because Rossini may have been messing with other people. She may have been getting around. You know what I'm saying? So for her, I think Mike Vrabel was just her favorite jump. That was her favorite jump off. You know what I'm saying? So I noticed how everybody's keeping it under wraps. They're trying to wait till more comes out, which more have already come out, and it's even crazier than before. So they were saying they were on a work trip. They were actually on a a little private situation when they first got caught. But funny enough, the husband actually went and did his homework, and he recognized, oh, this bitch been moving. She been moving foul for a long time, and so husband has found pictures dating back years ago. And another one that has came up at a very interesting time was in Putnam County, Tennessee, when Vrabel was the coach of the Titans. And they rented this boat. They rented this boat for 2 or 3 hours at the time that Rossini was pregnant with her first child. And Vrabel imminently said, hey, don't take no pictures. They're on a boat. She pregnant in 2021 with her first child. Yo, Shorty been getting cracked for years. They're just now finding out. I'm telling you, man, your Shorty got a work husband. Man, keep it move, man. Cut the cord, dog. We ain't having none of that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because now the question is the kid his son? We don't know. This may be Mike Vrabel's son. And guess what? Guess what the child's name is? Michael. The worst thing as a man is finding out your Shorty getting cracked. The second worst thing is finding out she having a baby by someone else while being in a relationship with you. And the third thing is she done named him after the man. Yo, there's no coincidence she been getting cracked. She been getting cracked by Mike, and the son name is Mike. No Billie Jean, no pun intended. The kid might not be his son. I don't know. Y'all got to tell me what y'all think, because this is a crazy instance in this. Yo, she been getting gutted like a fish for years, and it's just now coming out. She been messing around with dude. And for Mike, man, that's his favorite jump. That's his favorite jump off, man. So he's probably going to go on a whole sabbatical. He's not stepping down as coach. The Patriots have other fish to fry. They're not going to fire him. Even Drake May even said, listen, like, why should my coach go out and why should he be fired? And I'm going to just be honest. There ain't no way in hell, if I'm the owner, I'm not firing my coach for cheating. That don't affect your job. As a reporter, it affects her job because it's a conflict of interest. Let me tell you why. When media votes for awards, that stuff has financial implications. So if you're voting for your favorite jump off to win a certain thing and it boosts them financially, that's a huge conflict of interest. If I'm a coach just cracking stuff like a glow stick, that don't affect me. We're gonna win these football games. We just came off a Super Bowl appearance. We're good. I'm a former Patriots player. So I've been in the building. You know the vibes. Word on the street, man. Mike's wife still walk around with the wedding ring. So maybe she like, hey, man, I can't get this nowhere else. So let him go and get his stuff off and whatever. And the wife actually will take it better than Diana's husband. That's the interesting part, because the husband looked like a straight sucker, man. She been out here dismantling this man. Respect, like no respect, just straight dogging him on social media, talking about she did things her own husband don't even know about. I'm talking about just the craziest of things this woman done said about somebody. And she talked about her husband like that. They got 2 children. Now, if I'm him, I'm saying, yo, you went on a boat with this nigga? You went on a boat with this nigga while you was pregnant? That might be his child. Now that's some crazy fucking work because guess what? A reporter actually got fired for speaking on it. I think she worked for the New York Times. I forgot her name. I've written it down somewhere. I thought I did at least. But yeah, she's been fired for speaking on it. Man, Dirty Diana for real. This is Dirty Diana. Diana has been getting her back blown out by Mike for 5 years straight. She couldn't let that dick go. I'm sorry. This lady is crazy. I mean, she been man, man, that insider information must have been worth it because now she's caused a whole debacle and it's such a distraction. The Patriots organization already has enough on their plate. Man, you look at the Stefon Diggs situation. You got his chef saying that he assaulted her. Turns out it wasn't true. He's been found not guilty. This is a scorned woman who he said, "Yo, I'm gonna stuff you like an animal, and you're gonna cook this food." And she probably wanted to be more than that. And he just like, nah, you know the life, you know how many baby mamas I got, you know I rock with Cardi. You know what I'm saying? So now she went and blamed him for something that he didn't do for a quick lick, not knowing. The girl dumber than a rock. You don't get the bag that way. You get the bag by doing what you said you was gonna do, adhering to the agreement, and then keep it fucking moving. You wanted a big bag. You wanted all this because you want to be, you thought you was gonna get hit a lick, and it's like, nah, that's not how that works. So you don't trick yourself out of a good situation to get some money and still mess with and get a high life and all that, because the emotions involved, man. The fellas, listen. What I learned from the Stefon Diggs situation is a woman ain't just gonna keep it sex. She's gonna take it to a whole nother place. You may think she ain't got no feelings. Somebody gonna catch feelings. And if it ain't you, it's her. So be careful on how you move in that respect. That situation is crazy, man. You tell me what you think about that situation. Back to Vrabel. We on your ass because you done probably got this lady pregnant, and she out here with a husband, and this dude looks like a straight cuck right now. I can't believe it because what people fail to realize is that when a person been moving like that, ain't no telling how they've been moving for the whole relationship. So women in media now get a bad rap because of Diana. How fair is that? It's not fair at all. Because every woman ain't trying to get cracked to get these insider scoops. But I'm going to be honest. I think it's happening more across the league. And it's a few that I've seen, and I'm like, you don't do no good work, and you moving like that. How you getting in these rooms? But we're going to find that ass out soon enough. Moving on to more things, not within the culture, but outside of our main topics. I just guess within the athletic space or just in the sports space, we have the battle of Draymond Green versus Austin Rivers. Okay, so Draymond Green went and said he felt like Steve Kerr has hindered his career. And so everybody's like, yo, like he's the reason you in the league and, you got lucky because you got drafted to a situation. And it's just like, okay, well, first I want to shout out his agent, Ron Shade, for even negotiating a contract as such as he did for Draymond Green when he came out in the draft. Okay, that's one. Two, to say that Draymond is replaceable and he got lucky, anybody could do that, we haven't seen it until he been there for 14 years. And he's a Hall of Famer. So to say he's so replaceable is just kind of the ignorant thing to say. I think everyone's going to say whatever they want because they simply don't like Draymond Green. But his role is not replaceable. It's not something everybody could do because if that was the case, then everyone would have done it. And then you have Austin Rivers on the other side, number one player out of high school. We all remember the mixtape. Austin Rivers, one of the best high school players to ever play basketball. Number one overall pick, lottery pick, out of Duke, stopped playing. He had a 10-year career. It didn't pan out the way people saw, but his career is respected. He probably made $50-60 million. And now there's debate, well, he got that $42 million because his dad. Well, let me tell you something about the NBA. The NBA ain't giving that no $40 million. I don't care, whatever. His numbers show that he was impacting winning. And when you impact winning, that's what gets you the money, right? So you look at a Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein in New York, his numbers weren't great. He didn't average 20, right? He didn't have nothing flashy, but what he did was he impacted winning on an extremely high level, and you can't take that for granted in the NBA because a lot of players simply don't impact the game. They don't. It's not like like a lot of players really don't impact the game like that. They do what they can, but you don't impact winning. What you're doing at a high level in the playoffs, that's what gets you a lot of money. We've seen how many people went to the playoffs, did what they had to do, and got paid. OG Anunoby got paid $212 for what he did in the playoffs. He played on an iffy hamstring for New York. There's countless of players who got paid for doing what they had to do in the playoffs where it mattered. Not because you're averaging 25 and 11 on a losing team. That doesn't get you anywhere. Under no circumstance do you feel like I'm going to average 25 and 11 and we're going to be 16 and 66 and you're going to give me 75 plus million. That's not how the game works, my friend. It's about impacting winning. Now, the funny thing about this is Austin Rivers got paid for impacting winning in the playoffs. Draymond Green has got paid for impacting winning across his career. So obviously Austin Rivers' career probably ended earlier than he wanted to. So there's two arguments to that side. But I would say that you can't replace a Draymond Green because the Warriors had 14 years of not being able to do so. He would have been gone. How many times? He almost went to Memphis, he said. So we can't discredit Draymond Green, but we also can't discredit Austin Rivers on the fact that, yeah, his dad happened to be the one to give him $40 million. So what? And what the fuck? I would want my dad to give me the $40 million too. What dad gonna trade his son away? Especially when his son justifies the money. In this life, remember this. In this life, what you can justify, you can have. These were my numbers on a team. Everybody got paid that summer. Everybody got paid. So to single out Austin Rivers and just say, oh, well, his numbers weren't this, but he got paid $40 million. Of course, his dad played a role in it. Hell, I would too, but they're not just handing it out. They're not just handing this stuff out. You know, you have to justify getting paid, man. And so I feel like Austin Rivers has done so, man, over the course of his career. And he had a good career, man. He played 10, 11 years in the NBA. He'll get the free insurance for his family for the rest of his life. So we're not going to play like he's some scrub, okay? So, yeah, amongst that, man, everything else within the culture, the Michael movie, everybody's expecting it to hit $1 billion in revenue, box office. This movie is a biopic of the life of the greatest entertainer that ever graced the earth. Jafar has done an amazing job. Now, what's interesting for Jafar is I want to see how does he translate to different movies, or I don't think he's going to be typecasted though, because I know he looks like a young Tiger Woods. I could see him playing that, and it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates the acting world. We all know he's going to get an Oscar for what he's done in the movie, and rightfully so. Not just because he's Michael Jackson's nephew, because he did a damn good job. Worked hard for 2 years, didn't even consider acting until Graham King came and said, "Hey, we're going to make the Michael biopic, and we want you to be Michael." Who else were you going to pick? Fabio? So, Jafar Jackson has done an amazing job, and now he's everywhere. Vogue, Met Gala, everywhere you can imagine. He's going to have the whole industry backing him, and that's the power of legacy, because Michael Jackson left a really great legacy here, and now his family gets the benefit off of that, and it's an amazing thing to see. It's an amazing thing to see. The movie is something that we should be proud of, and one, you might as well enjoy it now, because I believe that number 2 is gonna be gut wrenching. It's gonna be extremely. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to shoot that, because it's gonna touch base on the allegations. It's going to touch base on everything that you can imagine that has to do with Michael Jackson in its totality, other than the music and the moments and the highlights. There were some pitfalls and some discrepancies, whether it be from the allegations, whether it be from the drugs, the not the pills and things like that, like the addiction to painkillers and stuff like that. So it's going to touch base across the board. I think Jafar has an interesting career ahead of him. You know what would be crazy though? What I always thought would be interesting if we can get Jafar to do the This Is It tour that Michael never done, or maybe I think part of the promo of the movie would have been him doing like a little mini run of Michael Jackson's greatest hits. That would be crazy, but that would be tiring though. I don't know if that works. Now on to our favorite segment, all W no L's, women's basketball culture, everything in between. There's so much to be said. Starting with the Atlanta Dream, fell short in their last preseason game against the Chicago Sky. Sydney Taylor has been a person of interest from mid-major to the final cut to the Chicago Sky. 24 points, shined oh so well, shown she can shoot the pill. Her ability, and I did some insider research, her ability to pick up things fast is what's probably going to get her on the roster. I mean, she played in Lithuania and then she played in Poland. And so what that means is her coming out of college, she's not like the rest of these girls who coming from college and you can't pick up the pro concepts and things fast enough because in pro teams, you have to adjust or your job's on the line. So for her to come into the Chicago Skies camp with that mindset to adjust accordingly bodes extremely well for everybody involved because I think sometimes people don't understand as a professional athlete. I think low friction is the way to go. What does that mean, low friction? Meaning that I am going to have an opportunity to get into a system and I want to be the person that no one has to talk to twice. In life, one thing I've learned is don't become another thing to manage. And I think Sydney Taylor has mastered that to a T in the camp. She's doing well. She's picking up on the defensive schemes. And also she has the great offensive showing to show that she belongs on a roster spot. They just cut Haley Van Lith. Angel Reese is gone. So now you should be looking for the person to really an offensive talent to build around. I'm not saying she could be the face of the franchise, which would be crazy because I think from a storytelling standpoint, if you had Sydney Taylor from UMass to overseas to the NBA, to the WNBA, there's so many different verticals in which you could work that, never give up on your dreams, always believe in yourself, and you go from undrafted to undeniable. I think that the WNBA could use a story like that. But shout out to Sydney Taylor. I think she's one of the more surprising players from going into the season, and by the grace of God, man, because you know how the WNBA do, man. They will literally cut a young player for an older player. And the young lady has so much upside and so much potential. Excited to see what happens with her. Now to the Atlanta Dream, a lot of turnovers, but it's to be known that, hey, there were players trying to make the roster, so everyone's frantic. They're trying to figure out who they are as a team. And, of course, you have your starters play. And I think they look so disorganized on the fact that, I think Smesko said, hey, let's see what you all can instinctually do instead of me telling you what plays to run. And obviously he gave his 2 cents. He's the coach. He's going to give his 2 cents in. And so with that being said, the team fell short, turnovers, had an opportunity to, didn't have an opportunity to capitalize on the shooting that they've worked on. So obviously some shots are going to fall. Alicia Gray, Ryan Howard, they're going to do what they do. Brianna Jones is going to get back into the starting lineup, and once that the second unit will be way more stabilized, and I believe it consists of Medina Okot, Tahina Pau, Naz Hillman, one of the better players in our league, and also Taylor Theory. I think we don't talk enough about Taylor Theory. She is a dark horse to be a mainstay in the rotation. Again, we got to speak about her game. She finished top 10 in school history at Ohio State for steals. She also went to to a league in Czech Republic, and she played. So she got some offseason bump as well. And just if she could become that defender at the point of attack, right? I think Jordan Canada is a known defender. Maybe not the best defender in the league, but she's known for her defensive prowess, her ability to stay in front of the ball, and just being a vet. You've been in the league for a long time. You know what to expect at this point. And she's probably, I think, year 10 of her career or something like that. So her ability to know what's coming. I think if she can groom Taylor up to be that's what she's going to find her groove and Taylor Theory is one of those dark horses to become a mainstay in the second unit, and it's going to be more stabilized. And I think that's everyone's question. Like, what's going to happen to the second unit? Don't worry. As soon as Brianna Jones comes back, Nance Hillman slides to the bench. We'll figure it out from there. Pow is another leader of the second unit, and I think it'll be interesting to see how the team does May 9th, the first game of the 26th season. Again, it's the Minnesota Lynx. Funny enough, Nia Coffey, who played for Atlanta, she's been traded there, and it's home for her. So, good job going home, Nia. It's the preseason, so Medina Okot also has the potential to be a breakout player in the second unit. I think that she doesn't even know how good she is. I mean, her ability to impact the short roll, she's going to draw two as soon as she gets close to the basket. And the thing about her and Angel Reese, there's options, right? Like, there's going to be so many options to shoot. Alicia Gray, top 5 MVP. Ryan Howard can shoot the ball. Tahina Pow can shoot the ball. So it gives our front court players options to kick out once you draw two. Angel Reese is going to draw two. Medina's going to draw two. So if Brianna Jones is going to draw two, she's an all-star herself. So it'll be interesting to see how the team collectively comes together. Everybody got some good bump in the offseason. So, again, it'll be interesting to see. I'm also excited to see how Angel improves. I know Smesko is going to help her fix her shot. Now, everybody's worried about Angel Reese and the jump shot. It's gonna happen, but I think what could help her and what can help Angel. And she challenges herself. Just change her relationship with failure. Like, that stuff helps. When you can change your relationship with failure, and when you miss the shot, don't get down about it. You understand, hey, this is your strong point. You just have to be able to shoot the shot, and you will find consistency over time, and that's going to bode extremely well from that standpoint. So I think that Angel Reese will be fine. It was tough to see how Kiki Ariafin defended her, and will transition on to the Washington Mystics and their chance to become one of those teams in the W. But Angel Reese will be fine. I think it's just a matter of her getting it. But at some point, the rubber has to meet the road, and she got to start making the shots and can't keep shooting from the hip. But that stuff isn't an overnight fix. It's a progression over time, and I'm sure she's working hard in practice to do so. Now, speaking of the Washington Mystics, this may be the team. I ask the question all the time. Why wasn't Lauren Betts chosen at number 1? But then I'm like, it's a blessing in disguise. I want you to think about it. Sonia at the guard, right? 3, 4, 5. We can literally have a big lineup. Sonia at the 1, whoever at the 2. Give me Kiki Ariafin at the 3, because she could shoot. Give me Shakira Austin at the 4. She'll be the playmaking hub, right? Give me Lauren Betts at the 5. That'd be one of the nastiest teams in the W. Give it 2 years. Let Lauren Betts find her three-point shot. The Washington Mystics would be a championship team, talent-wise, pound for pound. The front office has learned how to build through the draft, and I've just always questioned why in the hell did Lauren Betts go number 1? She's a proven winner. A proven winner. That stuff matters. A proven winner, player of the year, defensive player of the year, national player prowess, and you choose Azzi Fudd at 1. Now, Dallas does need shooting, so that justifies it. But I would have thought Dallas said, hey, what I'm simply going to do, I'm going to take Lauren Betts number 1. Okay? I'll package somebody up and give you a draft pick to go back and then go get Azzi Fudd. Or if you couldn't have got Azzi Fudd, because I've also known that her family, Azzi Fudd's family, has ties with the Washington Mystics. So I always wonder, why wasn't there some type of promise there? You never know. But from a strictly basketball standpoint, man, Lauren Betts and Paige Becker's in the pick and roll with the Fed families for generations to come. And she's going to draw 2, and then you kick it. Because I also think they could have got Lauren, and they could have used their later picks to go find shooters. I think this also speaks to the point that the WNBA has to do a better job of scouting year in and year out these questionable picks in certain situations. I'm just like, what the hell is going on? It's like no one knows what they're doing. We're just picking. And for obvious reasons, I think we all know why AZ ended up in Dallas. But she could shoot, man. The team needs shooting. And people are like, man, Lauren doesn't fit in the system. Dallas is going to run and shoot. Okay. Well, if you can't get offensive possessions, what the hell does it matter? What does it matter? At least, hell, we would have went for our fam. Defensive versatility. I think she's 19, so her ceiling is she ain't even tapped into who she's supposed to be. But then you wonder, hey, what's going on in these WNBA scouting? What the hell are y'all looking at? I think Atlanta is drafting better. I think some teams draft good, some teams don't. And also, the UCLA winning the national championship, man, I would do anything to get me a player at UCLA. And that also brings me to my next point, and I'll talk about brand power versus institutional equity. The UCLA Bruins had 5 players go first round in the WNBA draft. They took over the draft, and everyone's like, man, that championship must have meant a lot. Hell yeah, it does. But we're trying to better our league. We need winning culture in all the places. So what does that look like? Players who won in college. And a player who could have been a part of that stimulus package, but a blessing is a blessing. She fell to the right situation, was Janiah Barker. I've been high on Janiah Barker since last year. Obviously, she averaged only 7 at UCLA, so maybe a chance for more touches and to start more games. She started 3 games at UCLA, averaged 7 points. Transferred to Tennessee, averaged 14 points. Started 20 games. But the thing about it is, when you have those type of outings, and you have you have a chance to start, there's more to pick apart. I always said she could be the defensive Swiss Army knife in the league, and she could be the 6th woman of the year, like 6th player of the year. That could be a great ceiling for her. Not saying that's all she could be, but that's not a bad look. But then obviously there were other plans, right? She transferred to Tennessee probably for more touches, more everything. But then she slid to the 29th pick because they were saying, hey, maybe it's her attitude, bad body language, or whatever. She was suspended for undisclosed reasons. And so it shines a light on the negative things that everyone has them, right? But at the same time, I'm not mad at this because she's going to get a chance to learn from one of the best players in the history of the WNBA, Asia Wilson. And she's going to take her under her wing and say, hey, you were a kid in college. It's all good. Now, this is the W. I'm going to show you how to do it. And what better way than to learn from the best. But it also speaks to the brand power versus institutional equity thing. There's a lot of colleges that have brand power, but then there's also colleges who have institutional equity. And another example of that is Tania Latson of South Carolina. Damn near led the nation in scoring at Florida State. They said, you know what, I want to transfer to a better school and show them a winner. So what she does is she's averaging 24 points at South Carolina. No, at Florida State. Transfers to South Carolina, she's only averaging 14. And how many players are willing to sacrifice their game for the long term? Tania Latson averaged 24 at Florida State. Went to South Carolina, averaged 14 points, but became a better playmaker, showing her defensive prowess, and just became a winning player overall. And it just speaks volumes about what certain players are willing to do to better themselves for the long term. And super excited to see what she becomes, because most players aren't willing to do that. If I'm averaging less points, and I'm out. Janiah Barker, man, she has a pro body already, and her value is proven. She could win in systems, and so it got away. She had a chance to get away with the transfer from UCLA to Tennessee, not one of the better programs in all of college basketball when you talk about UConn, South Carolina, and those teams like that. But a chance to show what she can do, and of course they picked her apart, which is fine. It happens to the best of them. But thank God she fell to a team that has the right mindset, because I wanted her to come to Atlanta. But who we drafted in Medina is amazing. Just think about the offensive possessions, the practice battles between her and Angel, and when Breonna Jones get back. And so It's going to be an interesting season in the W, nevertheless. And also, Haley Van Lith had 20 in her preseason. They dropped her. You wonder why, but she's been picked up by the Connecticut Sun. Plan on getting me a jersey this year. Plan on going to a game or two. But what do you know? This is Cut the Deck with Isaiah Felge. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Episodes dropping Tuesdays and Thursdays of every week. Be sure to tune in. And I'm out. Peace.